top focus story continues to remain the national capital, which has seen a record surge of 28,395 new cases and 277 deaths in the last 24 hours. It's a worrying story unfolding in the national capital as far as the supply of medical oxygen is concerned, with the Delhi Health Minister sending out SOS messages to the centre on Twitter. After a late-night SOS, a GTP hospital has been given oxygen last night. Top Delhi hospitals are getting an oxygen refill. A desperate Gangaram hospital has got some oxygen supply. The Delhi High Court has hauled up the centre over oxygen supply to the national capital. Now, Gangaram Hospital has got half its daily oxygen need. The hospital is still awaiting oxygen supply from regular vendors from Uttar Pradesh. It is a UP versus Delhi standoff, an ugly standoff that's playing out right now at a time when Delhi hospitals are in dire need of medical oxygen supply. The Aam Aadmi Party government has said that the UP government is blocking oxygen supplies from UP-based oxygen plants. UP-based Inox is the main oxygen supplier to Delhi hospitals. What really is going on the ground? It is a worrying story that is in fact playing out at the moment. We will continue to get you updates from Delhi hospitals. Remember, the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister, the Delhi Health Minister, the Delhi Chief Minister, they've all been appealing to the central government on Twitter, asking for medical oxygen supply to be restored to Delhi hospitals. Is there a complete breakdown of communication between the state and the centre? This is an oxygen emergency in the national capital. Hospitals saying that they are left with hours of medical oxygen supply. Some hospitals like the GTB hospital, Gangaram, have been given oxygen late last night to refill their supplies, but this is not enough. Top Delhi hospitals are saying that despite the late-night oxygen refill, they are still desperate for more. Remember, Delhi's also seen a record surge in Covid-19 cases and deaths in the last 24 hours. The situation in the national capital continues to remain grim. But what is happening? Why is there such a shortfall of oxygen? Is politics being played with people's lives in the national capital? That's the big question. You have the top brass of the Delhi government hitting out at the centre publicly on Twitter, giving sound bites, talking about the oxygen emergency. What really is going on? Srinivasan Jain joins us with the very latest. Vasu, what more can you tell us at the moment? It's a really dire situation with the top brass of the Delhi government appealing to the centre on Twitter. Has communication channel between the Delhi government and the centre completely broken down?
Yes, not just that, Rishika, the main issue is that in all this wrangling, it seems to have really hit Delhi hospitals hard. And oxygen is coming, but it's coming in a hard-fought way, and it's coming literally at the last minute, just as the oxygen supply is running out in these hospitals, which have hundreds of patients, all of whom or many of whom are dependent on oxygen. I just got off the phone with the chairman of Gangaram Hospital as well as officials at Max Hospital's Patpargarh branch. These are two big private hospital chains in Delhi, as you know. The Gangaram chairman told me that they finally got a consignment of oxygen in the early hours of the morning, which was organized by the Delhi government from a private vendor, not their regular vendor Inox. It reached just in time as their oxygen was running out. They managed to fit this oxygen cylinder of capacity that had come to their systems, again with a lot of confusion and difficulty. Subsequently, they said at about 4 or 5 in the morning, they got another consignment of oxygen from Inox, which is their regular supplier. And that has given them some buffer, he says, for the next day or two. Inox has promised them another consignment of oxygen by the afternoon. But the story in Max Patparganj seems much more dire. They said that they were expecting an oxygen consignment at 2 in the morning. It only reached them at 8 in the morning. Between 2 and 8 in the morning, he said it was an absolute nightmare trying to keep the situation going with all their patients. He said of 300 patients they've admitted, 200 are entirely dependent on oxygen. He said this latest consignment, which has again come from Inox, is less than what they'd expected and is likely to carry them through till the afternoon. After that, once again, the situation becomes dire. So there's a considerable amount of confusion over exactly why the oxygen supplies are getting disrupted, why they're taking so much time to come. The Aam Aadmi Party government says that the Inox plant in Uttar Pradesh has been blockaded by the Uttar Pradesh government. They're not letting supplies travel out. We are hearing, though, from these Delhi hospitals that inox consignments are reaching Delhi. So it's not entirely clear which of these charges is fully true. But at the same time, the supplies are coming in this last-minute way. Often they're not coming as much as the hospitals would want. So overall, the situation still is extremely worrying, and we'll have to wait and see how this is resolved by all the different stakeholders.